It's no secret that celebrities get married and divorced quite often. They maintain a high profile and therefore have the world interested in all the details of their love life. But that also means they have the world watching when they get divorced. Some celebrities have even called it quits less than a year after saying, "I do." While there are several celebrities who have been through the cycle of marriage and divorce many times, who has actually done it the most? Ranked in order, here are the celebrities with the most marriages and divorces. Number 1. Zsa Zsa Gabor. The actress and socialite made it from the stage in Vienna to Hollywood. She was in John Huston's Moulin Rouge, which was nominated for 2 Academy Awards. After the film, she bounced around and made appearances on multiple television shows, meeting future husband along the way. The first was Turkish politician Burhan Bilge, who she was married to from 1937 to 1941. Then she went to the United States where she met Conrad Hilton, whom she married in 1942. According to Zsa Zsa Gabor's autobiography, she was raped by her husband and got pregnant with her daughter Francesca. The two later divorced in 1947. Her third marriage was with George Sanders in 1949, whom she later divorced in 1954. Sanders later married her sister Madga to spite Gabor, according to Vanity Fair. Gabor moved on to financier Herbert Huttner in 1962, but they got divorced in 1966. However, she got hitched that same year to Joshua Sensei Costin Jr., who was an oil heir. The marriage only lasted a year before they divorced, but then was Jack Ryan, the inventor of the Barbie doll, who married her in 1975 before the marriage dissolved a year later. Gabor then married Michael O'Hara in 1976, but he wasn't the only man she was involved with. According to Vanity Fair, she had a bigamous union, because she was also dating actor Count Felipe de Alba. When she divorced O'Hara, she made it official with Alba only to get the marriage annulled shortly after. Her last husband was Frederick Prinz von Anhalt, who married her in 1976. Her relation with Anhalt stuck and the two stayed married until Gabor died in 2016. Number 2. Larry King, 8 marriages. The television and radio host has won 2 Peabody Awards and has become a household name for his work. His last gig was on Larry King Live for CNN, where he interviewed controversial guests. He headlined the show from 1985 until he stepped down in 2010. Some people probably didn't know that the respected host also walked down the aisle many times. His first marriage was to his high school sweetheart Freda Miller in 1951. However, they were 18 and their parents disapproved of the relationship, forcing them to annul the marriage a year later. He went on to marry Annette Kay in 1961, but got divorced the same year. However, she got pregnant with his son, who he didn't meet until much later. King then moved on to Playboy bunny Aline Akins. They got married in 1962, adopted a son, then divorced a year later. He then married Mary Frances "Mickey" Stuffin, who worked with him at a Miami radio station. They married in 1963 and divorced in 1966. The host went back to Akins and remarried her in 1969. They had a second child together, only to divorce again in 1972. Next up was Sharon Lepore, who was a math teacher and production assistant. They got married in 1976 but divorced in 1983. His 7th wife was Julie Alexander, who he met at a charity roast of Bill Cunningham. They got married in 1989 but divorced in 1992. His last marriage was to Sean Southwick. The two got hitched in 1997. Number 3. Jerry Lee Lewis, 7 marriages. The rockabilly singer and pianist had also had a long road when it comes to relationships. His relationship with his first wife, Dorothy Barter, only lasted 20 months before they divorced. He then married Jane Mitchum, but it wasn't exactly valid given the fact that they got hitched 23 days before his divorce with Barton was finalized. The second marriage lasted 4 years. His third marriage was to 13-year-old Myra Gale Brown, who was the daughter of his cousin. This led to a huge controversy that ruined his career. He had to marry Brown again because he wasn't really divorced to Mitchum the first time the two wed. Their marriage lasted 13 years and they also had 2 children together. His 4th wife was Jaron Elizabeth Gunn Pate, who sadly drowned in their swimming pool. Afterwards, he married Sean Steffens, but 3 months later, she died from a methadone overdose. His sixth wife was Carrie McCarver, and they were married for 20 years before divorcing in 2012. The performer married again, this time to Judith Brown, who was previously married to his cousin. Number 4. Billy Bob Thornton, 5 marriages. The Oscar winner was first married to Melissa Lee Gatlin from 1978 to 1980. His second marriage was to Days of Our Lives actress Tory Lawrence from 1986 to 1988. He then moved to Cynthia Williams, who he got hitched to in 1990 and divorced 2 years later. His next union was with Playboy playmate Pietra Dawn Cherniak from 1993 to 1997. They had 2 children. His fifth marriage was the most famous. He wed Angelina Jolie when she was one of Hollywood's hottest actresses. The couple showed their love to each other in unique ways, like wearing a vial of each other's blood around their neck. They were married from 2000 to 2003. His last marriage was to Connie Anglin in 2014. They're still making it work. Number 5. Dennis Hopper, 5 marriages. The 2-time Academy Award nominee has also made it to the chapel 5 times. His first marriage was to Brooke Hayward in 1961. They had a daughter, then divorced in 1969. He then moved to Michelle Phillips in 1970, but divorced her after 9 days of marriage. Dennis Hopper then got married to Daria Halprin in 1972 until 1976. Next, he married Catherine Lanasa in 1989 and had a child with her before divorcing her in 1992. His last marriage was to Victoria Duffy in 1996, and the two had a daughter together. Hopper, however, got a restraining order against her in 2010 around the time they separated. He claimed Duffy's mother told me in November of 2009 that I should simply leave the bulk of my property to Victoria as I was going to die soon. I found this statement distressing, inappropriate, bizarre, and disturbing. Meanwhile, Duffy claimed Hopper repeatedly tried to kill her. The two were still technically married when he died in 2010. Number 6. Kenny Rogers, 5 marriages. The country singer and songwriter also had tried to make the marriage work 5 times. His first marriage was to Janice Gordon from 1958 to 1961. They had 1 child together. The second was Gene Rogers from 1950 to 1963. The third was with Margot Anderson from 1964 to 1976, and the couple had a child together. His fourth marriage was to Marianne Gordon, who also had a child with him. That divorce settlement was notoriously huge, with Gordon getting $60 million, but if you ask the singer, he would say the settlement was justified. But Marianne really did deserve the $60 million because she is a great girl and we had a perfect marriage for 15 years, he said according to Independent. His fifth marriage was to Wanda Miller in 1997, and they have 2 kids together. Number 7. James Cameron, 5 marriages. The Aliens director has many amazing movies on his resume, but he has also had a lot of wives. Sharon Williams was the first woman who was married to him. They were married from 1978 to 1984. Gail Ann Hurd was the second, and the two remained married from 1985 to 1989. His third wife was Zero Dark 30 director Catherine Bigelow, who married him from 1989 to 1991. Fourth was actress Linda Hamilton from 1997 to 1999. His last marriage was to Susie Amis, who married him in 2000. The two are still making it work. Number 8. Christie Brinkley, 4 marriages. The model and actress is stunning, so it's understandable why she has no trouble finding love. But she has also gone through many marriages. Her first husband was Jean-Francois Alox, who she was married to from 1973 to 1981. Her second husband was Billy Joel, and the two got hitched in 1985. Joel's famous song Uptown Girl is about Christie Brinkley. They went on to have a daughter together before divorcing in 1994. However, they did stay on good terms. You know what it was, we had Alexa, Ray Joel together, and we knew that was going to bind us together for life, so we wanted to make our divorce work, Brinkley explained to Wendy Williams. She then married Richard Tubman in 1994 and got divorced a year later. Her last husband was Peter Cook, who was married to her from 1996 to 2008. They had 2 children together.